This is episode 5 of Hardcore Minecraft. In this episode, I'm going to find the stronghold, activate the end portal, and attempt to beat the game. So the first thing I needed to do was to go back into the nether because I needed the blaze rods to make the eyes of ender required to find the end portal. Upon entering, I saw the fortress that I accidentally spawned in episode 3, so I ran around trying to find a safe way to get to it. After nearly falling to my death, I realized that I should probably reposition my portal. So I went back into the overworld and broke my current nether portal and then placed it in another spot that I hoped would take me closer to the fortress. But instead it just connected to the same portal, and on top of that, when I tried to go back, it spawned me in a cave.
Hell no, man.
But after digging back up, I remembered that in episode 3, after I broke the portal that spawned me in the fortress, another portal spawned in the middle of the forest, and I still don't really know how, but I figured that it must be a compensation portal for me breaking the other one. And to my surprise, when I went into it, it actually spawned me directly inside of the fortress. The first thing I needed to do in the nether was get some blaze rods, so I started looking around for a blaze spawner.
Hello, it's
John C.
A few minutes later, I found one, so I started swinging.
Ow! Wow.
And with looting 3 on my sword, I was able to get 7 rods extremely quickly. So I was officially done with that for now and was able to move on to the next step, which was getting ender pearls, since in order to make eyes of ender, you need to combine both blaze powder and ender pearls. And there was actually a warped forest right next to the nether fortress. So once I got there, I started putting the endermen in boats and then, politely asked them for their pearls. And I just continued doing that for the next few minutes. After a few minutes, I had more than enough pearls, so I went back into my nether portal and headed home. When I got to my house, I spent the next few minutes organizing my inventory because I wanted to make sure that I had everything I needed for this fight. I also put mending on my pickaxe because I didn't want it to break when I was in the end. And lastly, I said goodbye to my dogs because this could be the last time I would ever see them. And after making sure I had everything I needed for this fight, I crafted and threw my first eye of ender. And now all I had to do was just follow the eyes of ender all the way to the stronghold. Eventually, the Eye of Ender changed directions, indicating that the stronghold was somewhere below me. After a few minutes trying to get a more precise location, the Ender Eye went directly underground, which meant the stronghold was right under me. So I made this pillar to always know where it is, and then I started digging down to the stronghold. After a little while, I dug into this cave, which had the stronghold already exposed inside it. So I mined into it, and turns out that I followed the Eye of Ender so well that I actually dug directly into the portal room. And even though I knew where the portal room was, I still kinda wanted to explore the stronghold, so I saved the coordinates and explored the stronghold.
nice shot.
After exploring for a few minutes, I headed back. I checked my inventory one last time, and finally, after 175 days in this world, jumped in the portal. Once in the end, I needed to start by shooting out the end crystals since they replenish the dragon's health. Now that all the crystals were destroyed, all I had to do was wait for the dragon to perch. And just like Sand Diction, I proceeded to punch the dragon to death when its health was low. So after collecting the XP, I jumped in the portal, and this was it. I had officially beaten Hardcore Minecraft. Even though beating the Ender Dragon was really just the beginning, since I still have tons of stuff planned for this world. And now that I beat the Ender Dragon, I wanted to get an Elytra to be able to fly around my world. So I started heading home. Once I got there, I crafted a spear since I think it sort of pairs well with an Elytra, as well as some fireworks to propel the Elytra. So I went back to the stronghold and jumped in the portal. I then bridged up to the end gateway and threw an ender pearl directly into the end's outer islands. Now in order to get an Elytra, I needed to find an end city, so I slowly bridged over the void because one slip up here will just kill me. Once I got to the bigger islands, I just sort of ran around looking for an end city. Eventually, I spotted an end city, so I headed over to it. But then I realized it had no ship, which meant that it didn't have an Elytra. So I continued looking and eventually spotted another end city that also didn't have a ship. So after some more looking, I finally found an end city with a ship. But when I tried to enter it, I was quickly banished by the shulkers. So I respectfully asked them to stop. Cut this part out. After some exploring, I finally made it to the chest room, so I took care of the shulkers and opened it. I then came across 2 more chests, so I looted them as well. I was running out of space in my inventory, so I crafted a shulker box, which is actually really useful as it practically allows me to have an entire inventory in a single slot. And after exploring some more, I bridged over to the end ship. And after getting the dragon head, I went inside, looted the chest, and finally got the Elytra. So I went to the edge of the ship, jumped off, and just started to fly. I flew around the end islands for a bit, and then I decided to head home. I also collected the dragon egg because I forgot to do that earlier. When I got home, I enchanted my Elytra, but then this happened. That was a pretty dumb way to pop a totem, but we'll move past it. And now that I had an Elytra, I just kinda wanted to fly around for a bit. As I was flying around, I found this igloo which had a secret room under it. And after spraying this guy with a weakness potion and then feeding him a golden apple and waiting a bit, I now had every overworld advancement. On my way back home, I found a giant mushroom island, which is pretty cool considering how rare it is. And if that wasn't enough, I also found an entire woodland mansion right after. And the very last thing I wanted to do in this episode was build a statue of Sand Diction, because without him, this series probably wouldn't exist. I wanted to make this statue out of concrete, which meant I was gonna need a lot of sand and gravel. So I made a bunch of blue concrete powder when I remembered that Sand Diction's skin is light blue and it was gonna look really bad otherwise. So after getting a bunch of light blue concrete powder, I made a giant tower with it, which I covered in water to turn it into concrete, and then I mined it. I also made some black concrete for the face and the hands. And then I started building. And that's the sand diction statue complete. So that's gonna be all for today. We beat the dragon, got the Elytra, and this world is honestly just getting started. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. And if you want to chat with me, get sneak peeks, or just be a part of the community, then make sure to join my Discord server. But yeah, until next time, peace